Hello once again, Louisiana. Welcome to Let's Talk Money with Mark Provenzano. He is the founder of Hedge Private Wealth. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Every single week, Mark tries to help you with retirement planning solutions. Mark, how are you this week?
I'm doing fantastic, and it's always great to be with you, Spike.
All right, thank you so much. Tough topic we've got to talk about today. We're going to talk a little
Yes.
bit about the housing bubble, interest
Yes.
rates, what in the world is going on. Is this 2008 all over again? A lot of worry, for folks out there. But for our retirees, you might be thinking to yourself, well, today's housing bubble, it doesn't affect me because I'm already retired. But the housing market really affects a lot of the economy. So with Let's Talk Money, let's talk housing money. Are we seeing similarities today with what happened back in 2008, Mark?
No, Spike. No, it's quite different. And some of the reasons for that, it is very, very important because that relates directly into the GDP for us, directly, okay? That affects everything when you do have a slowdown and a negative impact on housing, right?
Yeah.
So 2008, much different. We saw very easy lending, money was flowing. Stock market was up at the time before all the bubble crash, right? We saw stated income loan documentation.
I got to stop you right there because I was bartending back then. And I remember somebody coming, Spike, we get you a loan. I'm like, I don't have that kind of stuff. I'm making cash over a bar. You're telling me I could get a half $500,000 mortgage. They were willing to give me. I'm like, what is it? It's a stated mortgage.
Yes, so true. And, back then, Spike, we also had, it was a low interest rate environment. So why not go and overextend yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you had the ability to do it. And as we know, we're going to come back and we're going to compare it to today. But what happened back in 2008? We had the mortgage bubble, and that rolled right into what? The stock market plummeting.
Yeah.
Some serious,
Now, and
terrible
those
losses.
other things, though, because we were also just recently in a low interest rate environment, but the reason interest rates have moved have been totally different. So
Right.
there were the housing bubble, which was created by those stated mortgages, and the balloon mortgage. Maybe explain that. What
Absolutely.
exactly happened there?
They make it very easy to afford up front, right?
Yeah.
You basically just pay an interest. It's an interest-only loan.
Okay.
But what happens with the balloon? The balloon, you pay everything at the end. Then at that time, if the house does not justify the increase in capital appreciation, you're stuck with what? Something that's very...
Housing payments that you can't afford.
Right, because it resets. And then if the house doesn't justify the resetting, what do? So yes,
You lose the house.
and that's what we saw happen so much. But today, it's very different. Now we're looking at high interest rates. We're looking at tightening of the credit. We all know how very hard it is to go out and get a loan now. We don't have securitization of the loans anymore. They're not repackaging up like they did in 2008 and selling them off as what, AAA bonds, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not having that anymore. The loans are being made in-house, and the financial intermediaries are keeping them. The organizations are keeping them. So we have quite a few different items going on now. But we do know that there's a tightening of credit, which is making it harder to get.
Right, and again, I want to bring it back for today's retiree. You might say, well, my house is nearly paid off, or I don't have to worry about this. But you're saying it affects so many other parts of our economy that these higher interest rates often create, number one, market volatility. At least that's what the textbooks say, because that's
Yes.
where I come from.
Yes.
And that seems to be true. Interest rates went up, created market volatility. What else for today's retiree? Are we worried about these interest rates? Because the interest rates seem to be going up. If you're not getting a loan, that's not a big deal. But interest going up on things like bonds and money markets, is that a good thing for the retiree?
Depends on how they're positioned. Now, if you don't mind, if I can share a story.
Sure, please do.
I have a story. I worked with one of my clients. We got them a very low loan, extremely low loan last year or two, okay? And it did very well according to plan. However, some things have changed in the lifestyle of my clients, and now they're finding themselves needing more cash flow. So I was posed with the question, Mark, we had a meeting, they came in, do I refinance?
Oh, okay.
Now,
Okay.
I took as much information as I could. I ran the numbers, and yes, we could extract a little bit of capital out of the property. However, when you look at what the amortization is over the long haul, it's very hard for me as a fiduciary to say, yes, we should do this because you need the cash flow.
Now, were they doing it because this was something that was pitched to them from their bank? Were they doing
Good
this
question.
because of an income need? And were you
Yes.
able to find a different way to provide that income?
Very good question.
I asked you three there.
No,
Sorry.
that's okay.
I
It
threw
was-
a whole bunch at you.
No, it was not done by a pitch from someone just trying to get them a mortgage. No, it was not done. They had a lifestyle change, and it did require a lump sum of cash.
Okay.
So we went about it another way. Instead of tying up their beautiful property in a 6.5%, 7% loan, we went a different route. We pulled a little bit from the 401, which we didn't want to, but we did. That's what it's there for. They had the cash to pay some of the taxes, but they were really after the cash flow. So we did take care of that need, that pre-need, right? If you're budgeting,
Yeah.
we did take care of it.
Right. Now,
Sometimes it's not pretty.
I was going to say, taking from the 401k, this again,
Yes.
as a fiduciary, your firm is licensed as a fiduciary. You say, what's in their best interest? What are they looking
Yes.
to do? Because you're not suggesting to everybody watching the TV show that
No.
when you need cash, go to your retirement accounts. You're like, in this individual situation. But you also thought it was better than taking it out and creating an amortized loan, higher payments.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I put my signature on. I would not put my signature on something that said, yes, you're at 3.25. Let's go ahead and refinance you and double the interest rate. I can't. That's not going to come out of my office. That's just not going to come out of my office. And that's why, that's why we always talk to you and we tell you, make an appointment. Come in to us and see us and sit down and have a very easy conversation, maybe 45 minutes. You're gonna learn more, believe me, I promise you, when you leave than when you came, because we're gonna be talking about all sorts of items happening. The volatility, the stock market, the bonds, everything. I encompass everything. But what's most important is that you come in, we sit down, I do the proper internal paperwork that no one ever sees, and we learn about you. You learn about us. And in that, we're gonna complimentary, no charge to you folks. And what we do has a value of at least $495 to almost $1,000 because it takes our time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reports that we run, and those reports are gonna help you so much. You may have them, you may not, but times change. That's why we tell you, come into our office, have a complimentary review. We're gonna run you quite a few reports. One of them is going to be your risk. How much risk do you have in your portfolio right now? Everyone should know that. How much fees are you paying? Fees are the silent killer because those will erode your portfolio over time. And I have to tell you, we can always do something better for you. There's always something out there that we can reduce those fees to you. How about an income report? Oh, well, I don't need income? Well, you know what? I've never had any of my clients tell me, Mark, if you can extract me more income out of my portfolio, I don't want it. No, I just don't want it. We usually can do that. But it depends on how much risk are we going to take to get that. How much are we going to take? And you will be so satisfied to have a complete written portfolio review signed by me in our binder, tailored to you, and it's complimentary.
Right. Mark,
Complimentary.
we got to take a very short break right now. Folks, as Mark is saying, call right now so you can get your own complimentary written financial plan for retirement. It starts right here. Call the phone number you see on the screen or use that QR code. You've all been to restaurants where you've got to use your phone to open up the menu. Same thing here. Open up your camera, point it at the black and white box down at the bottom of the screen, and it'll take you right over to our landing page. More Let's Talk Money with Mark Provenzano of Hedged Private Wealth right after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, Life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Money with Mark Provenzano. He's the founder of Hedged Private Wealth. I'm your host, Spike Spangle, and we're always trying to talk about literally what's going on in the markets, what's going on with retirement planning, how do we create consistent income strategies. Before I leave this topic alone, though, I want to know, comparing the 2008 housing crisis to the difference of what's going on right now. I mean, our Fed chair, Jerome Powell, is the one who's been bumping up these interest rates. He was trying to literally slow down the housing market. So this seems different, but prices were sky high on homes. It's a lot harder to get a mortgage right now. Are there other ancillary effects that are happening to, I don't know, to our retirees? I mean, this affects a lot of the market.
Absolutely, Spike, absolutely. And you know, one of the things we're seeing is that the housing market right now, as we all know, it's fairly pricey, no matter where you go. You look across the United States, I know what's happening in Louisiana and abroad too, New York, Las Vegas, San Francisco, everywhere, Florida. It's heated. We have a heated housing market right now. But we have a big difference, not a little, a big difference this time. Now we're having hard to acquire loans. There's less real estate on the market. So the demand, you don't have a lot to pick from because people know they put their house up. How are they going to get the lending? What am I actually going to get for my house? Because we know that with interest rates rising, the property value has to come down for what? The consumer, the new buyer, to afford.
Right. No, but now the retiree might be thinking, well, the only thing I'm concerned about is that I'm going to downsize, right? So I could take my home that's appreciated, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, and I'm going to buy something that's lower in value. The problem is the downsized homes, those have gone up in value. Is it even worth downsizing today?
You know, that's where we do, when you do come in, we'll run you that real estate report. We will show you that. Because one thing you have to realize is that if you do want to downsize, sometimes we look at it and the numbers tell us you're only a couple $100 off, maybe $1,000 or so, and that's just not worth it to some of us. So think about it. Your property taxes are most likely going to be higher on that smaller home to where you were right now in your larger home that you're looking to downsize, right? Because you're buying into it, right? You're paying much more for the home than what you normally would. So that's another second consideration to look at. And then on top of it, you're buying into something that is a decreasing property value. So we look at the retiree that wants to downsize, thinks they need to downsize, but is it the best time to downsize?
Yeah. The other thing is there might be a lot of folks out there who have acquired real estate and are using that right now as kind of an income stream in retirement. I just wanted to ask you that conversation. Have you ever helped people with rental properties as part of their portfolio? What happens is as we get older, you know, do you want those phone calls at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and the pipes burst or we have another flood that's happening or, you know, the real estate, it did the job of what you wanted to do and the market has been up. Do we want to continue to hold different properties as we move into retirement?
I'm so glad you said that statement because, you know, just recently last year, we actually advised, and I signed off on it to where quite a few of my clients, I actually told them, advised them, sell the properties, sell. It just doesn't make sense anymore. Like you said, the aggravation, the headache, the properties were located far away. They're paying someone, you know, to go do the maintenance on it. They're paying the contractors. They don't know what's happening down here in New Orleans if it's 150 miles away, 200 miles away. So, and it all be, you know, Spike, as we get older, right, we look for simplicity. And that's what Hedged Private Wealth tries to do for each and every one of our clients. We take your portfolio, we look at it, we analyze it, we run all the numbers, I sign off on it. We try to make it more palatable to you. it's got to make sense to you. And just like you had mentioned, yeah, what about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, the pipes busted, the water heater broke. Now you got that to handle. So realistically, for that month, the renter has went negative. By the time they finish paying for everything, the air conditioner went out, that's 3 months of rent. When you pay $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for AC, complete AC, that's 3, 4 months of rent just gone. So are there better places for your money? That's why you come in and talk with us, and we go through that with you. And we'll help you make a determination. And it's up to you to take that first step by giving us a
Hedge
call.
Private Wealth, it's not just about the investments. Maybe you can explain, because we've said this over the
Yes.
last year or so. Get your complete financial plan, a written financial plan. For Hedge Private Wealth and you, Mark, what exactly is that? What are the different steps? It's not just the investment portfolio.
Oh, no, it's not. We get to know you. We get to know you intimately because we can give you better advice if we know everything about you, just like us. We're an open book. We tell you what we do, we tell you what we don't do, and we tell you what we won't do. When we will ask you if you're looking for this or you want that, we have to bow out. We can't, we're not going to do that. Or you don't have to go down the street for that. And that has happened before too.
Hey, well, and for example, like,
Yes.
you know, is it people who are interested in cryptos, or hey, I like
Yes,
to
that's one.
individually stock buy? Will you help me do that? What would you say, Mark? Is not necessarily the best person, but the typical person. What is the kind of typical person that you can best provide help for?
That person would be someone who wants to take a mature stance on where they are in life. And we take a good, solid look at what you have acquired, and how do we want this money to react and work for you? Because that's what it's about at this stage of life. Do we want some protections? Do we want no protections? Do we want to have guaranteed income? Do we want to have fluctuating income? How much risk are you willing to take? That's what we need to know. And that's when we tell you if we can or cannot help you, because we're not going to go there with someone that is really wanting to invest the money for the kitchen table, the money for the rent, and we're not going to do that. For the medicines, no. Even though they want to make high returns because they've been caught up in this right from the 2000s, they've seen it during work. We're not there anymore. It's a different venue where we are today.
I mean, that's the point, is when you get to retirement, and if you do have that life savings, you wanted to earn something, but the chasing after high returns, those days are gone, right? I mean, we've said that before. You don't want to be chasing after high returns, period. But especially once you get to retirement, we've turned on that Social Security spigot, we have some savings, close to the house being paid off. You don't need to be chasing after high return. You just need consistent returns, correct?
That's right, that's right. And at our firm, what Spike's saying is 100% absolutely correct, and that's how we run our business, is that we look at your fixed expenses, we look at your variable expenses. We figure out where you want to be, and we know where you are. And from there, we can go ahead, and that's where our process starts of putting an actual plan together, the portfolio review, giving you all of the reports, giving you the risk report, giving you the income report, which we believe in wholeheartedly, because you have to know where your income's coming from and how guaranteed is that income. Do you want to have something for 3 months and then it goes away? I don't think so, not at this stage of your life, right? So you want to have a comprehensive written retirement plan. Even if you're well into retirement, it's always good to get your portfolio looked at for a second or third opinion, because the way we look at things are quite different than the regular big boxes. So all we ask is that you come in, sit down with us. We're going to give you everything we said, complimentary, which is about a $500 to $1,000 value. Have a good talk. You just need to pick up the phone, give us a call at 888-339-2048, and you will be meeting personally with me. My staff will be there, but you will have to sit down with me.
All right, Mark, we're going to take a short break right now. As he just said, call the phone number you see on the screen, or you can use the QR code as well. Open up your phone, go to the camera function, and point it at that black and white box down there, and it will take you over to our landing page. We're going to continue to talk about your money, what you do in retirement, solutions for you. It starts with your own written financial plan. When we get back, right after this.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
This is Let's Talk Money with Mark Provenzano. He is the founder of Hedged Private Wealth. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. We're talking a bit about the housing market, how this one, as Mark is saying, is totally different than 2008. The interest rates slowing down the housing market have been on purpose by our Fed chair. But we, as consumers, as retirees, and those getting ready for retirement, we can't control interest rates.
Right.
We can't control what the cost of a loan is. Right. As a fiduciary firm, what can you help people control cost-wise when it comes to their retirement plan, Mark?
Well, the first thing when you start talking about cost for you is we look at the actual fees that you're paying inside of that portfolio. Do we know where they're coming from? And that's one of the things that we help you extract. We have all the tools, the software, we have all of that, and we put it together, we look at it, and then I always ask the infamous question, did you ever realize you were paying this much in fees? And you know what that resounding answer is? All the time. All the time. No, I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew it.
It's confusing. Have you ever tried to, I mean, I know that you read through prospectuses, but like, folks, if you have a hard time falling asleep at night, do yourself a favor, open up that prospectus. 6, 7 o'clock at night, you fall sound asleep on the couch, I promise. They're confusing.
Yes.
We don't know how to find the fees in there. So you can help go through that. What else?
Yes.
Where do you find those kinds of fees? Where do you help people reduce those fees in their investment plan?
We ask them to bring in a copy of their statements, and from there we'll start to go through, have a thorough review of everything. And like I said, we have the software, we can punch in the ticker symbols, and we know exactly whether whomever's helping you with your money, whether they're telling you or not, we print it out and show you actually what's getting charged to you. Mm-hmm. And that differential would be whatever else the advisors, the money manager, whoever is charging you on top of that. So sometimes that can be a really big hurdle to get over. And in these days and times, like Spike, you and I always talk about, we're dealing in much different times right now. And I have to say, with everything happening with Jerome Powell, he said he cannot just totally stop, Spike, as you and I were discussing this. If he just stops and starts pulling back on the interest, it's going to cause some type of panic within the markets. Mm-hmm. So we can pretty much swallow that we're going to have for the next Q3s all the way through. We're going to have about a 25% basis increase in interest, which that's going to negatively
So
affect.
it's not going to be like last year, where
Right.
we're going to keep getting these 0.5% bumps that we kept seeing, every few weeks. Mm-hmm. But we'll probably see a couple more, you think, throughout this year?
He's already said it. He's already said that, yes, in his FOMC meeting, he said it.
Yeah, and so then the interest rates, they go up, and then it causes the panic in the markets, and then it's more expensive to buy homes.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry for a retiree at home. They're watching this news, and they're freaking out. And then they do, from this other program that we talked about, then they start taking their money out of the banks, and then there's the whole banking situation. Yeah. So is this a time to run and be fearful right now, or should we remain calm and speak with an advisor?
It's a time to ask questions. It really is.
Okay.
It's a time to ask questions and be cautious and understand what you have, where it is, and what is it doing for you, right? That's what our whole show is about. Let's talk money, okay? Do you know what your risk is in this volatile market? Do you know what your fees are being charged to you? Do you have any idea of that? Do you have an income report, which is also important to you? And it doesn't matter if you have enough income to take you through, you never dip into it. If we can always get you more, that's a great thing, if we can. And that's why the review, the process is so important to come in and sit down with us. I promise you, we're right here in the Galleria in Metairie. We're not hard to find. You come into the 7th floor, covered parking. Come in, you'll see the ladies in the office. We'll have a nice sit down, talk. You talk. Ask me anything you want, but I will say 45 minutes is usually the stipulated time, but we always go more because you ask me a lot more questions, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and I say, well, that's for the next phone call. That's for the next appointment.
Some people might feel caution or feel silly because they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
Is this an overwhelming process, or can you simplify this for people like me to be able to understand these investments? Can you make it easy, or is it difficult? Because I wonder sometimes when folks aren't calling the phone number, if are they worried about being pitched, or are they worried about what they don't know?
Right. Thank you for that. And it is, for us on this side of the desk, it's very easy for us. You should not be afraid. You should not have no reservation to give us a call and come in and see us. You're only going to walk away smarter. I promise you that. You will walk away smarter. But the only way that you can do that is if you call our number, 888-339-2048. Come in for your complimentary review. On your second appointment, you're going to walk away with a tremendous amount of information, reports. However, I will sit down with you and I will take you through all of it. And I'm going to show you the one-pagers that my firm puts together for you, to where your eyes really only have to go. And it's up to you if you want to go delve further into the supporting documentation, which are all the financial statements. That's up for you to do if you want to do it. But we're going to give you that high overview. It's going to be easy. It is simple. It just needs to be put in front of you. And are you on track? Are you on track? So, we like to say for our next 10 callers, come in, sit down with us, talk with us, very friendly conversation. Call the number on the bottom of the screen, 888-339-2048. You'll be glad you did. We're local, we're not going anywhere, and we've had great response thus far from television.
Yeah,
it's been overwhelming. So the only thing I can say, Spike, is if we don't, we might have to push out a couple of weeks, but we will get to you.
Yeah, as Mark is saying right now, we got to limit it to the first 10 callers today just because it is a lot of work. So do yourself a favor. Call the phone number right here, 888-339-2048. More Let's Talk Money with Mark Provenzano of Hedged Private Wealth once again next week.